What will happen to us after we leave this world? It is a question every soul eventually asks, whether in a quiet moment of reflection or in the face of loss. And yet no one who has died has ever returned to describe it to us. No grave has burst open to send someone back with an account of what lies beyond. This alone should make us pause. We accept so much in life on trust, yet the one certainty that awaits every living being is the one we spend the least time preparing for. The Quran addresses the disbelief of those who doubted resurrection was possible, especially once bones had decayed and turned to dust. How could scattered dust be gathered again and given life? Yet Allah's response is not an argument from human logic alone. It is a reminder of His power over creation itself. Consider the depths of the ocean. Sunlight cannot reach much beyond a few hundred meters below the surface, and yet in that darkness, Allah sustains countless forms of life, feeding them, giving them their appointed lifespans, watching over them without a moment of inattention. If Allah can govern what no human eye will ever witness, then bringing life back to what has turned to dust is no difficulty for Him at all. Nothing, not even the smallest particle, escapes His knowledge, whether it lies in the deepest sea or beneath layers of earth. Death itself is described in the Quran as something certain and unavoidable, reaching every soul regardless of status or strength. It has been narrated that a day will come when Allah commands that all of creation be brought to an end, not gradually, but completely. The mountains, the seas, the sky, and everything within them will cease to exist as they are known now. Even those honored angels closest to the throne will not be exempt. According to Hadith literature, the angels themselves will eventually be told that their time has come, until only the angel of death remains, and then he too will be commanded to lay down his own soul. In that moment, creation as we know it will be silent. It is worth pausing here to reflect on what this means for how we live now. If every relationship, every possession, every position of power in this world will one day be undone so completely, then what are we truly building our lives around? The Quran often describes worldly life as fleeting, something to be used wisely rather than clinging to as if it were permanent. After this ending, Hadith describes Allah proclaiming His sovereignty to a creation that no longer exists to hear it, asking where the kings and the powerful now stand, and answering that on that day, dominion belongs to Him alone. It is a sobering reminder that no authority in this world, however vast it may seem, is anything but borrowed and temporary.
Then comes what the Quran calls the second blowing of the trumpet, the moment of resurrection. Every soul will be raised, described in Hadith as returning barefoot, unclothed, and just as they first came into the world, gathered before their Lord to be held accountable. There is no escaping this gathering, and no way to hide within a crowd so vast, for every person will stand exposed and alone before their Creator, just as they were once brought alone from their mother's womb. Islamic tradition tells us that people's reactions on this day will differ sharply. Those who lived heedless of accountability will express disbelief and dread at what is unfolding, recalling the warnings they once dismissed. Those who strove to live righteously will recognize this day as the very promise their prophets delivered to them, one they had prepared for with sincerity rather than denial. Regarding the arrival of Allah's throne and the appearance of His creation before Him, the Quran describes angels arriving in ranks and the throne itself being borne aloft on that day by 8 angels, a scene of majesty beyond ordinary comprehension.
Authentic Hadith describe the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, recounting that he will be among the first to be granted awareness on this overwhelming day, and he compared it to that of Prophet Musa, peace be upon him, who is remembered in Hadith for his complete devotion, having once been overcome in this world upon witnessing a manifestation of Allah's magnificence. Hadith literature describes that on this day, the first among creation to be clothed will be Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him, since all people will be raised in the same state they entered the world in. From there, according to these traditions, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, will himself be clothed, followed by the rest of the prophets. What follows next in the narrations may surprise many people. Rank on that day is not given according to worldly status or achievement. It is said that those who called the adhan sincerely, often overlooked and even criticized in this life for matters as small as the timing of their call, will be honored early among the righteous. This reflects a broader theme found throughout Islamic teaching, that true honor before Allah has never been about position, wealth, or how the world perceives a person, but about sincerity in devotion. Then, according to Hadith, Allah will address His servants directly, reminding them that throughout their lives He watched over them, sustained them, and gave them countless opportunities, while asking nothing in return except their obedience and gratitude. Now, it is said, comes the moment where every matter once hidden will be brought into the open. Actions carried out in private, whether in devotion or in wrongdoing, acts of worship performed quietly in the night, matters people assumed no one would ever know, all of it, according to these narrations, will be disclosed. This life, the Quran reminds us, was never meant to be a place where every deed received its reward or its consequence immediately. It was a trial, a preparation, and the results of that preparation are unveiled only now. The Quran describes paradise being brought near to those mindful of Allah, and the hellfire being brought near to those who transgressed. A bridge is described in Hadith as being laid across and a scale set up to weigh each person's deeds. It is at this point, according to these traditions, that Allah begins to question each soul individually, asking not what they left behind in this world, but what they have brought forward with them today. Wealth, property, and possessions accumulated in a lifetime mean nothing here. What matters, according to the Quran, is the record of one's intentions and actions, the sincerity behind the worship offered, the honesty in dealings with others, the justice shown, and the harm avoided. Everything is measured, not as the world measures material things, but as the hereafter measures the weight of a person's deeds and character.
For those whose wrongdoing outweighs their good, the Quran describes a profound loss, one where the very deeds a person once took pride in are declared void. Hadith describes this moment with startling imagery, that of a person being seized firmly and called to account without any place left to hide. When such a person pleads for mercy, it is said the response will be that no mercy remains to be shown, since it was mercy that had been offered throughout their life and knowingly rejected. Yet the Quran also describes an entirely different scene for those whose good deeds prevail. Such a person, upon receiving the record of their deeds in their right hand, is described as overwhelmed with relief and joy, wanting others to witness what they now hold as proof of their success. In the Quran's own words, this person will call out for others to come and see the record they have been given, recognizing in that moment that their certainty in the reality of accountability, their patience in worship, and their sincerity in this life were never in vain.
Allah's response, as reflected in these teachings, is one of blessing and generosity beyond imagination, welcoming such a soul into a life of everlasting reward. Descriptions of paradise found in Hadith speak of abundance beyond anything witnessed in this world. Even something as simple as a single bunch of grapes is described in one Hadith as being so vast that a bird could fly for a month without reaching its full extent. Such descriptions are not meant to be measured by worldly standards, but to remind us that whatever sacrifices, patience, or sincerity this life demands of us are met with a generosity from Allah that this world simply cannot contain. This is the account given to us, not to frighten without purpose, but to awaken reflection. Every soul will stand before its Creator, every deed will be weighed, and every moment we are given now is an opportunity to prepare for that day with sincerity rather than heedlessness.